Hello, Mr. Westwater here, ready for our lesson. So before we get going, here are 5 quick sort of conversions that I'd like you to have a go at. So have a look at these questions, fill in the blanks, pause the video now and we'll go through the answers in about a minute's time. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to go through some of these solutions. Now the key thing here is to know our unit conversions. So thinking back to the autumn term when we first converted between units, we have 10 meters equals a certain amount of centimeters. Well, I know that there are, in 1 meter, there are 100 centimeters. So that's what the center stands for, 100. So if we have 10 meters, I can just times both of these by 10. And I know that 10 meters is 1,000 centimeters. Okay, so we've got that scale factor in maths, we call it, of 100. So another way of thinking about it is to times 10 by 100. And therefore, if we're going the other way round, instead of timesing by 100, I need to divide by 100 if I'm going from centimeters to meters. So thinking about what happens when we divide by 100, the decimal would move 1, 2, 3 spaces to the left, which means we have 0.01 meters. Okay. Now let's have a look at kilometers. So again, I know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So 3 kilometers is going to be 3,000 meters. And I know that, well, 1 centimeter is 100, 1 meter is 100 centimeters. And so 1,000 meters is going to be 1,000 times 100 centimeters. So this is going to be 100 and then another 2 zeros afterwards at 100,000 centimeters. So 2 kilometers is going to equal 200,000 centimeters. Okay, and 1 meter squared. Now, if you put 100 centimeters squared, this would be wrong. Okay, for this I'm going to ask you to imagine what this unit means. Well, this would mean we'd have a square. Okay, in fact, actually I'll draw 2 squares which are identical in size. Okay, and we'll label this 1 meter by 1 meter, because the area of this will then be 1 times 1, so 1 meter squared. But if I write this in centimeters, so 100 centimeters in a meter times 100 centimeters, what do we get? Not 100. We get 1 followed by 4 zeros. 10,000 centimeters squared. And this often catches people out. So this is what we're going to have a look at today in a little bit more detail. If you want a title today, I guess our title could be just units, maybe in 2D. Okay, and we're going to have a look at some trickier examples of converting between units, and the key thing is to always imagine what this is, what 1 square is going to equal, and then you get your conversion ratio, your scale factor in 2 dimensions. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple more examples now. Pause the video if you need to make a note of any of these. So, my next one, I'm going to have a look at 3 centimeters squared equals how many millimeters squared. Before you think you know the answer, try and work out what 1 centimetre squared equals in terms of millimetres. Think about what each would be as a square. Okay. What do you think it's going to be? What's our scale factor? Well, there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre, so there must be 100 millimetres squared in 1 centimetre squared. So our scale factor is 100. So if I have 3 centimetres squared, I must have 300 millimetres squared. Okay. Now let's go the other way. So 200 millimetres squared equals how many centimetres squared? Now, I wouldn't start off by thinking about 1 millimetre squared equals how many centimetres squared here. I would always start by thinking about the largest unit, because this is actually 0.01 or something like that, which isn't a nice conversion. So I would always start with the largest unit is 1, and I'd work out how many, and you'll get a whole number of the smaller units are going to go into it. So here we already know our conversion between 1 centimetre squared and millimetre squared is 1 timesing by 100. So to go the other way, I would need to divide by 100. So this would be 2 centimetres squared. Okay, my penultimate example is going to be 4 metres squared equals how many millimetres squared? Well, again, I'm going to think about what if I have one of my larger units, so 1 metre squared, what's that going to be? It's going to be not 100, but 1,000 times 1,000. So 1 million. Running out of space. 1 million millimetres squared. So 4 metres squared is going to be 4 million millimetres squared. And finally, 5 metres squared is going to equal how many kilometres squared. So again, instead of starting with 1 metre squared, I'm going to think about which is the larger unit. So here, the kilometre is the larger unit, so I can say 1 kilometre squared. And again, if I think about this, it's the same ratio, isn't it? 1,000 metres in a kilometre, so we'll have 1 million metres squared. And therefore 5 metres squared is not going to be 5 million kilometres squared, because that's to go from 1 kilometre squared to metre squared. So actually what we're going to have to do is divide by 1 million. So divide by 1 million, which means moving the decimal 6 places. So let's draw a bunch of zeros in front of this. I think I'm going to actually run out of space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be 0 point and then 5 zeros, followed by a 5. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Have a go at questions 1 to 6 from page 258 to 259 in your textbooks, and I'll be on call to help out when needed.